Welcome to the fourth video in this series on how to get started creating your own 3D animations in Blender. In this video we're going to look at how to use photos, so realistic textures in your 3D models. We're going to put a picture of some grass on a floor plane, and then we'll put a photorealistic iris on a monkey. Then we're going to quickly look at some procedural textures as well and talk about the differences and how to get started with that. Okay, so if we start from the default cube, delete it with X. I'm not going to create the whole of the monkey body. We did that in the last video. So I'm just adding a subdivision surface modifier, shading smooth, and adding a new material just like we did in the last video. I'll call it skin. Change the color. For now it's just going to be a solid dark orange to make it brown. And remember, we need to go into material preview, so press Z, and then I can press 2 as a shortcut. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit. We do need another material slot. In the previous video, we used a mirror modifier so that we could just do things on one side of the monkey's head and it would be replicated on the other. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to go into edit mode, press A twice to select nothing. Select faces with 3, and then circle select. I'm going to have to select both of these eyes, press escape, add a new material slot, and create a new material called eye, and assign it to the selected vertices. All right, next job is to find an image that would be suitable for displaying on the eye. So I'm just going to use Google Images iris texture. And then there's loads that you can choose from. I'm just going to save it as a JPEG, and then we want to put it onto this 3D model. To do that, rather than putting a whole solid color on here, we want to set the color based on an image texture. So we click on the little blob to the left and go image texture. It doesn't look right, and it's not mapped to any particular image yet. So let's open the image. I saved it in pictures as iris.jpg. Here we go. And it certainly doesn't look right yet. It looks far too zoomed in. We need to set the coordinates, and we use the UV editing mode for that. So you can see here I've got the 3D model on the right, I've got the 2D picture on the left, and the vertices I've got selected in the 3D model are shown on the two-dimensional image. So this is called UV editing because in maths we think about X and Y, but X and Y are already taken up in our three-dimensional space. So we've invented new ways, new labels for the axes, U going across and V going up. It also defaults back into just solid preview mode. So I'm going to press Z and 2 to go material preview. Select nothing by pressing A twice. And then circle select with C. There we go. Let's just have one eye selected at a time. And you can see that as you select vertices in 3D, it highlights that geometry over here. So let's come on, press escape, A8, C. There we go. So if I zoom in, you should be able to see the geometry, the vertices over here. Wherever your mouse is pointing is where your keyboard input goes. So I move my mouse over here and press A, G to grab, move it into the middle of the iris, and S to scale. And as you scale it, you should be able to see it splatting onto the three-dimensional image exactly as defined in the two-dimensional image. And we'll do the same over here. Press A twice, C for circle select. Oops, I'm not zoomed in enough to be able to do that. Let's try again. There we go. A to select. No, I have to cancel circle mode first by pressing escape. A to select, G to grab, S to scale, and that's pretty good. Let's go back into layout mode. You'll probably want to do the nose and the eyes and the nose and the mouth and the ears like we did in the last video. But let's just put a texture onto a ground plane. So Shift A to add a new object, add a plane, GZ to move it down in the Z axis, S to scale up, and then just like we did for the iris, we're going to create a new material. So it's worth noticing that every object can have its own stack of materials. So we click on the plane. Let's create a material called grass. And we'll choose an image. I've just gone to Google Images and searched for grass tileable. Tileable means that it tessellates, it repeats without seeing any kind of sudden cut-offs around the edge. So let's find that image. I think it's in pictures and grass. Here we go. And it looks pretty good here because it's fairly easy for Blender to be able to unwrap a square image onto a square 3D piece of geometry. But if you want to change the UV editing, then that can be really useful for setting the scaling here. For example, if you press A in the UV editor and S, you can see how it can zoom in or zoom out. And because this is a tileable image, it does tessellate reasonably well. If you make it humongous, you'll be able to see the kind of discontinuities and it looks unnaturally repeated. So you want to strike a balance and probably just keep it as it is for it to tessellate nicely. Okay, the final thing that we'll go through in this video is a little bit of procedural textures, and that's so that you can kind of have something that's not from an image, but is also not just a solid colour. So for that, we're going to kind of make a slightly mottled effect on the monkey head. We'll get the skin texture here, and instead of just a solid brown, but also instead of an image texture, we'll go for a noise texture, and this just looks weird. So to edit this, I'll introduce you to the node editor under shading. Now, there are loads of videos on how to do this properly, and it's a very powerful tool, but to get started with it, it's not as complicated as it looks. So we have our shader here, which is responsible for how metallic something is, how rough it is. We've seen this before just with our normal material editor. This is the thing where you can set the base color to whatever you want. And then we added a noise texture in here, like so. So a node editor just allows you to kind of procedurally plug in different things to be able to create some complex effects. The noise texture goes by default all sorts of colors, any old colors. We want to just limit that to dark brown to light brown. So I'm going to press Shift and A and search for a ramp, color ramp, and I'll put that in between the noise texture and the principled BSDF. So now it's shading from black to white. We can, in fact, I think it's, yeah, let's change that from a dark brown to a slightly darker brown. Okay, so you probably can't see that much, but if we change the scale, let's scale it up to, I don't know, about 40 or something. It begins to look a kind of, it's almost like mahogany wood, isn't it? And then you can tweak how shiny it is. So 0 roughness is going to make it look really kind of plasticky or metallic. Fairly rough, not really metallic. Alpha is how see-through it is. So if you want to be able to see through it, I don't want to be able to see through the monkey's head. But hopefully that gives you a rough overview of how powerful procedural textures can be, so that you don't have to find or create a texture image. You can plug together all sorts of ways to kind of generate those images on the fly.